So I would say I'm interested to hear another big media guy is LaMelo Ball. So your top seven was almost identical to mine. Like I think highly of Obi Toppin. I don't know why people don't. I really like Wiseman. I really like Edwards. I like Avdia and I love Okongwu. But I've noticed that I think maybe the most naturally talented flow wise is maybe LaMelo. But there's things I didn't like. But he says he likes LaMelo number one. So what is it you're hearing about him, and what do you think about LaMelo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I like Lamelo. I think there has been quite a bit of hype around him, and so what I like about him is he's got great size. I mean,
Yeah.
they list him at 6'7". I think he's probably closer to 6'6".
Yeah.
So he's a legitimate 6'6" point guard that's got a knack to make plays. I mean, he's very crafty. He's got the ball on a string. I mean, his handles are tight, and just a natural playmaker. He's got deep range on his shot. I mean, he's not efficient, which I think it's more of shot selection rather than broken mechanics. And so that's something that's just, you hope will just, improve as he matures as a person and as a player. So he's good. I mean, I think that first tier of guys, they can all be on the board depending on who's picking with all the early picks. Is he a guy that I think is clearly in that first two or three guys? No, not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be for certain teams. I'm thinking, if like New York, we're going to get number one. I mean, they need to address point guard, right? Is he in the mix? I think he'll be in the mix. Is he the number one pick? I don't think I would go there, but, there's a good chance. Some of the issues with him is I don't think he's that athletic. I think he depends more on skill, coordination, and length. So he's not very athletic. His body's filling out a little bit, but he's physically weak. And then his decision making. I mean, some of the shots he takes, he plays pretty flashy.
Yeah.
And sort of the fine line. Okay, he's a playmaker and he's a baller, right? And no pun intended there. But I think he's got to become a little bit more conservative as a player. So those are some of my issues with him, but it's not overly concerning. But again, I don't see him as like, hey, this guy's the number one pick.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because I remember a couple years ago I was doing a lot of stuff. I've been doing a lot of scouting stuff the last couple years, especially the Luka draft. And I thought Luka and he thought Luka were the best players in the draft. But it's hard to put. There was a lot of concerns because we see these guys play in the foreign leagues, and everyone knows the EuroLeague is better than college basketball. But the concern with Luka was always he's not quick enough, he's not fast enough, he's not crafty enough to continue to be as good as he was. Obviously, that turned out to be not true, and that's why he got picked. Well, a lot of concern was that's why he got picked third instead of picking at 1 or 2. And now I think it's interesting to see the same thing kind of happen with these guys that we see foreign. Like LaMelo is in that same kind of boat. We're seeing him playing the Australian League. How good is the competition? Probably a little better than Division One, if not a little bit equal, depending on the top tier teams. But I think personally, like LaMelo, it's like flashy, but I think the right team drafting him, not the Knicks, but if somebody like the Warriors were to take a chance on him, I think he'd be very special.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got upside. I mean, he can. I think he's somewhat of a high risk, high reward guy because it's just his size and his just natural talent. You're right. He's got major upside. But there's some concerns there too. And I mean, they seem like they've got the off the court stuff with the family and the dad under control. But is it somewhat concerning? Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I don't think it would necessarily scare me from taking him. But I think it's part of the conversation still.